We will call this May 1st Brown County Commissioner order. Commissioner Kip, if you lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
First item on the agenda, Mr. Dirk Rogers, Highway Superintendent, discussing the road limits.
Yep.
And department updates.
I would like to, load limits expire today by statute unless you guys extend them with a resolution or, I brought the law along this time.
Okay.
I think it's just a resolution, we can double check that, but I would recommend that we extend them at least another week. Everything's 2-3 weeks behind, and I understand that it's not a popular decision, but I've called every county around us, and the only place I found is the South Haffahan County. They unposted some of their roads, but nobody around us is yet. They're all looking at going another week, so I would like to be able to revisit it again a week from today, and ask that you guys would pass a resolution extending them until we can review it next Tuesday morning again.
Is there any frost out there yet?
Yeah, somebody, one guy I talked to that put a water line in, hit it about 30 inches deep yet, so there's a few spots that I can actually see it coming out, but for the most part, it doesn't even look like it's coming out of a lot of them yet. So, and I understand.
Not going to be popular.
No, I know that, I know
Everybody's heading
that.
to the field this week.
I realize that, and a lot of them are going to the field anyway. I mean, it's a lot of fertilizers getting hauled right now,
Yeah, there is.
and all that. But we kind of got, I'm not saying that it's awesome out there, but we've kind of got it stopped, and we've been able to kind of address new breakup as we go along on most of it, so trust me, I get it. I know it's not popular, but if we take them off now and we're wrong, I mean, it could be a $300,000 decision, so that's my recommendation. Now, having said that, you guys want to do something else, that's your deal. I just want it noted that that was my recommendation. You guys are free to do whatever, and I don't get mad and stomp out of here or anything, but that's my recommendation, and that's my deal, I guess, so.
Any other discussion? Anything from the commissioners for Dirk, or what are your thoughts?
Well, Dirk is the one that knows our roads better than anyone, and being I'm not running for re-election, I'll make the motion.
So, we have a resolution from Nancy, a motion from Nancy, a resolution to keep the road limits on till May 8th on the next meeting to make a final decision whether they're
Correct.
going to be on or off. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Hess, second by Sutton.
So
All
if
in-
you see something different, you'll let us know. I mean, it doesn't have to wait the full week. If things are looking midweek, like we can take them off.
Yeah, but I really doubt.
Does it take, now that we've passed today, does
Right.
it take our action to take them off, or
No.
is it something you can do?
You know, once you, just like had we taken them off a week ago, say, then we can just take the signs down, it expires today, and we go on with our lives. If in 3 days, all of a sudden, something's changed dramatically, then it's just a matter of flipping the signs back up. Obviously, it's Tuesday, and we're only talking a couple more days, and then we have the weekend, and then we're back here Monday. So I just don't...
We don't have
Yes, we can
weekends
do...
out there.
Yeah,
It's your-
no, I
it's your
understand
discretion.
that. Right.
That's what we're doing.
I just, what I'm trying to say is yes, Rachel, answer your question is yes. However, the way it's been thawing out, I would be really surprised if things would change that dramatically in 3 days to
Sure.
2 days.
And what I'm saying is, don't be afraid to make feel like you have to wait a whole week. Days
No.
matter, and so if Friday comes, Saturday comes, whatever,
Right.
and we feel like we can do it, let's do it.
Okay.
With that being said, I'll support the motion.
Yeah, me too. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and just so you know, even though I'm a stupid city kid, I do understand that. I understand the impact that makes, and we're getting pushed. I mean, we're not the equivalent of the farming industry, but we're getting pushed back too. We're gonna have to jam a bunch of stuff into
I was
a
gonna say,
shorter
it's-
period of time as well, so.
It's not only the farmers, it's also the contractors too. So.
Okay. That was the fun part.
Department updates.
Well, so
Road
road
widening.
limit. Oh, I want to make a comment about road widening because it's come up a couple times, kind of as a casual comment, and it's like a lot of things. Wider's always better, right? But you're trying to figure out where that's at that it matches up with your resources to do things. So, road grade. Doing road grading or changing a road grade, even at the state level, has really waned a lot, and the state's put more money into their surfacing and less money into grading for, let's just say, the last 15 or 20 years. Now, their road grades are a little nicer and wider and bigger than ours. And I'm not, in a perfect world, you would do that every time we milled up a road, we'd address something with the road grade, but once you get into widening, and depending on what anybody's definition of that is, it can be a pretty substantial undertaking, and there's been comments, I know, with the East-West 13 that goes out to Richmond there, because that's something that's on for this year, and we'll see how this summer goes, but to be overlaid, and some comments came up about widening, and that would be a good one to actually regrade it. Well, the regrading south of Bath was $750,000 a mile. Now, out there, I don't think it's going to be that, but we're still talking probably more than what it costs to pave it. So you're a little over doubling what you're going to do. And the other thing I don't think people always realize is the extent of the impacts, which we're going to talk about that on another project here in a second. But when you start regrading and how far you need to go out to get your dirt, to get your shape put back in there, and for instance, along that East-West Richmond Road, I'm afraid you're going to get into and it's fine. It's not that you can't do these things, but we're talking of wiping out 100 feet outside of the road on both sides all the way through there to actually accomplish that. I'm just using that as an example. So you're going to get into people's fences and trees and bushes and all that. Again, they're all things you can do, but when people comment about widening or doing that with the road, I think it's a little bit more substantial of an undertaking than they always think it is. There's things we have done. We've created what I call false shoulders, where you throw some dirt in there and it kind of flattens it out, and it might give you a little better of a chance if you run off of it, but it's not truly where you went and stripped everything out and then brought that road grade back up. You just kind of added some stuff in there to make it a little flatter. So it's something we can always look at. If we had a 2 or 3 mile project, it might even be viable to look at it, you know, in a certain spot for doing grade raises. But generally, that's sort of why we're still trying to. Again, I know stuff's getting bigger, and we try to address the radiuses maybe more at where you turn with long stuff and do some things like that and widen those out. But to just widen out 10 miles of road is a pretty substantial undertaking.
Been getting a lot of requests?
Some, not a huge amount, and to be honest, I think I'm kind of surprised. People are generally happier if you just keep the road surface adequate and fairly safe, and keep the bridges from being posted. That is something I've gotten we've been pretty aggressive on, even these smaller structures, and I have gotten a lot of positive feedback about, hey, I like that you put these big pipe in there, I can move stuff through here, it isn't posted anymore, and things like that. So we did have a garbage truck get an overweight on a bridge out at on a posted bridge just recently, and the garbage trucks are a challenge anyway when you put spring load limits on, because they're overweight empty. But this particular situation was a posted bridge they went over. It was $8,000, so it's
Are they overweight empty?
yeah, they're over on a 6-ton road.
Really?
Yeah, they're overweight empty because of that mechanism in there.
They're called.
Yeah. So that's my little soapbox deal about widening. We always look at that when we do stuff, but it can get to be a pretty big project. And as an example of road widening and how it can turn into a big project, I'm sliding into our department update now, if that's all right, Doug.
That's fine, Dave.
Okay.
Go right ahead. You got the floor right now.
So-
You just let it rip.
A couple of things. These are just some of the status of some projects. I'll talk about Brown County 14. Okay, the very first one of our projects out there is starting at the railroad tracks. They're half-mile north of US 12. On Monday, that's going to be closed, and we'll get official she's not in here. We'll get official notification to everybody, but This is to let you guys know, starting Monday morning, that'll be closed for about 6 weeks, worst case scenario. We're going to put new approaches in there that'll take the roughness out of the tracks and put a turning lane into the industrial park. This is a project we bid about a month or 6 weeks ago. Reedy Construction got it. It's $141,000. Should be pretty quick. That's the first of those things that'll be happening on 14. So that's the one thing I know there's a timeline, and that's right at the railroad crossing, the Cutler Farm and the little soybean crush plant. Will have access, but that's as far north as you'll be able to go. So that's
And then where does it end? Like at 8th? So it won't affect, can people still come down 14 and turn on 8th?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, 8th, it will be closed right south of 8th there. There might be a time where they can come down and get into the industrial park still, but I think I'm just going to close it up right at the intersection so they get used to going into town and coming into the industrial park from the north. So, but anyway, that's going to start Monday, so that'll be exciting, get some stuff going. The North Railroad Crossing, now that's the state line, that's a mile north, right on it'd be the extension of Fairgrounds Road. That project, those are a little harder to schedule. Everything's lined up, and then what'll happen is the people that operate, I can't think of the railroad that operates the state line up there, but they'll contact me. That'll be run through the state, and they're going to replace that north crossing, put a whole new crossing in there. It's a little different than what we're doing at the south crossing, because the crossing's staying in there at the south one. All we're doing is fixing the stuff coming up to it, okay? On the north one, the state's actually replacing the whole railroad crossing and putting an updated deal in there. That project's about $44,000, and our contribution to it will be $9,000 in-kind work by doing the paving. So basically what happens is they'll contact me, because that's how the railroad is. They let you know when they're ready, and then it's all set up with the state. We turn all of our receipts into the state, and the state pays them, and it's just a simple program. We'll probably be doing more of those as the next years go by to update the crossings on those, as long as they can work them out.
Is that going to be kind of in line with when you're working on the other 14?
Yeah.
When you do the crossing there?
Yep, and that one's not so bad, Doug, because we can run the traffic. I mean, if somebody gets stuck down there by that crossing, you can go a mile west and on that gravel there. You know, it's not the world's greatest road, but they can get into like the sports complex area from the north there. Okay, the West Bridge at Richmond. I want to talk for a couple minutes on that, and I try not to go too long. When we started, the thing out there is the bridge needs to be replaced. And I got some communication when we were going to replace the bridge is, why don't we put it up high enough so boats can get under it, and that I thought was a pretty reasonable request. The other thing that would take care of is it would flatten out the vertical curve, the slope coming down to it, you know, and make that a little more palatable. So to raise the bridge up so boats can fit under it at the same elevation that the north bridge is, we got to raise everything up 6 feet, okay? And when you raise it up 6 feet, this is what happens to the road grade. It spreads out quite a bit. Well, so now we're impacting landowners, and none of that was a surprise. But on the south end of the project, you've got Game and Fish on the east side, on their property, and then we have a private landowner on the west side. We went back and forth a little bit, but the current design, we kind of cheat over on the private landowner side a little more, because he wanted to be involved in the project, and we need the dirt anyway. So between the dirt and some other work we're going to be doing there, it was going to be about $90,000 to $100,000, which it's not out of whack. We have to buy that dirt to do the project. I'll let you guys read this letter, or you can look at it tonight if you're real bored, but this is a response back from Game and Fish. I was kind of scribbling on it. I should have made copies before I started scribbling angrily on it, but there's some requirements on here working adjacent to their land. There's nothing that's really shocking or horribly out of whack, but if you just look at those quickly, The first one's a construction easement. That's not weird. We'd get that on whoever property we were on. The second one is a special use permit. Well, okay, another permit. We work for the government. We can push paper too, so that's not a big shocker. We get down to number 3, and they want us to build a new approach in a 6-car gravel parking lot. And then perhaps even have to do some additional grading from the parking lot over to their trail. I was doing pretty good until number 4, and then it's commenting on where we can rip wrap and where we can't rip wrap on the road. And
How about the new 4-wire fence?
yeah, now and I didn't even know there was a codified law regarding the post placement, but we'll have to review that. And then a specific seed mix. Well, all these things by themselves aren't real horrible, but when you start piling them all up, we're going to have about $500,000 to $600,000 into the raising the bridge. The bridge is going to cost about the same with a little bit difference in some steel because you're going to need 6 foot more on your piling to raise the bridge up.
Well, raising the bridge is a benefit to gain.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but I don't know. As I sit here right now with you, I don't want to go to the nuclear option, but the objective...
More their benefit than county highway.
That's what I thought. But the objective, or the whole thing that starts this, is that bridge is posted, and it's on a county road. And when we have a posted bridge on the county roads, they become high priority, and I move them up the list. This one isn't as critical as some, because there's only a couple fields that get harvested and then have to come over that and outside of garbage trucks and propane trucks and stuff like that. It's not like we're talking about, a Prairiewood Road here and a bridge, but I'm really leaning towards not doing the grade raise. Now, the bridge will be wider, because we're not going to redesign the bridge. The bridge is already made, as a matter of fact. It's sitting in a yard and it'll get trucked in here whenever it's ready to put together. So the bridge will be about 20 feet longer than the existing one is, but the height wouldn't be any different. So you could still get under it to some extent and have some relaxation from a width standpoint, but anything that's got substantial, headroom in there.
I think you should contact and tell them we're not going to raise a bridge if they want us to do all these things. If they want to do it, we'll still raise it.
Yeah, if they want to fund it,
There used to be some grants or stuff like this. I would think they would chip in.
Right. Well, and how you get here is we send the plans to them and say, hey, this is what we're doing alongside your property, can we have a conversation, and, this is the response. It's tricky for me to come in here and now argue that we should leave the bridge at the same elevation because of this cost when I was in here, and until I was willing to maybe spend $300,000 to raise and widen the grade and make it so the whole facility out there is better. But when you go back to being, okay, wait a minute, at the end of the day, we take care of the roads and the bridges, and what do I need to do here? I need to replace the bridge. That's the issue. It isn't so much the elevation of the bridge from a transportation standpoint. So, I would entertain any comments or feelings on that.
I think you should have a visit with them or something.
I agree.
See if they can come off it.
Help out.
The night 3 a joint project. They fund that part, and we'll fund our part.
Okay.
See what they say.
Seems like a lot of additional extra money for a boat to go under a bridge.
What do they call it, 40?
Well, and it's not like it's going very far west after you go under the bridge. I mean, it ends somewhere, not very far down the road, so
It's pretty shallow north of there.
And I don't want it to get into, like I said, at face value, those things aren't way out of whack. Well, other than the riprap, I don't like that. But, again, we don't build this stuff for fishermen. It's the same argument I made about the Ordway Bridge. We don't build stuff, that's not what we're here for.
Sorry, our department.
Right. So,
Maybe when you contact them, you let them know that 1 and 2 we will definitely take care of, and the other 4 we would welcome a partnership with them to take care of the other 4.
good. Sounds good.
it's not like they're constricting us to do our part if we want to put just an ordinary bridge in and continue on our own county business. I mean, it's not like
No?
dictating. I mean, it'd be to their advantage to chip in with us if they really want something at this point in time.
Right.
So, okay.
I think I'll just... I was gonna make a general statement about some departments but I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Dirk, you developed a filter?
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. It's an election year, I have to be careful.
Yeah.
With age comes wisdom.
Or more mistakes that you hope to learn from, one or the other. I'm trying to think, what else we got? The Hall Pit Bridge, we're still kind of playing some ping pong between the consultant and the state and getting that the way everybody is, but we're probably a couple months out from that going to bid yet. But that's still for this year. We're getting real close to bidding the rest of the Road 14, which is the turning lanes at 8th Avenue, Prairiewood, and 281. That's just about all designed. I have to work out a couple things on some little pieces of right-of-way with Development Corps and some landowners, but we've already initially met. It's just a matter of getting stuff signed. As soon as we can kind of get load limits off and get things kind of going here in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, I would expect we'll start milling up there by the water plant and start getting 14 ready. We'll start prepping this piece up here. 3 miles up between 5. Gotta get that finally built.
You gonna do anything with 5 going east?
5 east of there. No, I think I got that in next year's. Well, it's in 2020, but that's actually probably gonna get pushed up to next year. That's this one here. Oh, going east of Hecla.
Going east of Hecla.
Yeah,
Had a call about that
Yep.
a couple months ago, wondering if you're gonna do anything with it at all.
we are, but I don't know what yet. I was trying to make, if we're putting gravel in right now, I might try to make something cold mix up there and pave this with that, but I'm getting, but yes, we're gonna do something.
Okay.
There's a Marshall County commissioner that drives school bus on that, so she keeps me pretty abreast of the condition of it. Landfill road, I mean, a lot of this stuff is just, just got to get going, but the landfill road's gonna go. We're gonna add a bunch of gravel to that and get that put back together this year. This cold in place recycle, we're bidding, I believe, is it next Tuesday, Max, I
You
think?
talking about throwing those by Concord Elevator?
Yeah.
Gravel? You're not gonna buy top?
No, we will. We gotta add some gravel in
I
there
see.
first.
Okay.
Yep. And then, this will bid next Tuesday. That'll be in August when that's when that'll get done,
Oh, okay.
hopefully. And it's only about probably should be 10 days. It shouldn't be a really long thing in there. The stuff that you guys bid last Tuesday, that'll probably be like a July, and they'll just work that in. When we had those guys work for us down here, they just came in on Sunday and paved into Mansfield and back. So that's, that stuff you bid the other day is probably 3 days worth of work for those guys. It'll be a quickie. The plant is gonna be sitting up here. And that was a good number. That was
That was.
$10 a ton less than what I had estimated, so I was pretty happy. So anyway, yep, that's kind of a really bad update on what we're doing, but
Let's take the load limits off. You can
yeah, we
add
get some stuff going. I think that's it. But you guys got something else?
Sounds good.
No, sir.
Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you, Dirk.
Guys have a great day.
You too.
We're gonna. You too.
Our next item on the agenda is discuss possible outcome for ag land assessment, and before we go down that, I would entertain a motion for a short exec.
Moved. For potential legal?
Yes, to address legal options.
Okay.
Awesome.
Kipley, motion, second by Sutton. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in exec. Exec, no action as a result. Next item on the agenda will be discuss the possible outcome for ag land assessments. And at this time, I'd like to open it up for comments, input, questions.
Guys here?
I guess if we don't have anything, I guess I'll just start off kind of telling you where the commission is at. We have discussed this amongst us and with our state's attorney, and have moved forward with an offer of settlement for the 2017 county side of the taxes payable in 18. We have a letter also that we're going to address to the state of South Dakota, asking for their input and anything that they may be able to do for funds or whatever it be at that point in time. I guess that's kind of where we're going with this. If anybody has any question, I can read the dollar amount that will be paid for the 15 townships with parcels that the county is looking at, and that'll be just on the county's mill levy side of which will be refunded. Don't believe there's anything we can do with those systems. That money's long been spent with the state. And there again, that would depend on how you want to handle the Department of Revenue with the state of South Dakota. It's pretty quiet. I don't know where to go here. Somebody has to have questions.
I can throw a motion out for discussion. I would make a motion that we refund the property tax of 2017 payable 18 to those 15 townships that are perceived as having been overtaxed in the amount of $513,411.35. Is that the correct number?
That's the correct amount.
Or those folks that have already paid. The details are still being worked out, but there may be an abatement of the taxes if they've already been paid.
I'll second it.
I would, before you vote on that, I'd like to chime in and say I would recommend that everything Rachel just said, plus the only way that that money ever gets distributed is each landowner would have to sign a mutual release agreement that is being worked on between my office and some of the attorneys involved in the issue.
Question, Chris. I have land in there. Do I abstain from this vote?
I probably would.
Thank you.
I suppose, Tom, you do too.
What if I have a relative with land? Then
I think
a
you're fine.
relative's name.
You need a quorum to have a vote here. Let's make sure we realize that, because...
Okay, so I'm okay if it's just a relative, because otherwise we're probably all out.
I don't have any land.
Can't have too many farmers on the county commission, I guess.
Well,
And Tom is also on that township thing?
Yep.
Does he have to abstain also then?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Okay. So just to clear that, Nancy and Tom can
And-
vote.
And to come up with that number, we really got to give a shout out to our departments. It took a lot of work for the assessor's office to kind of do a lot of the research, to the auditor's office has been working nights and weekends, treasurer's office to try to come up with what would be a fair and equitable amount for those folks and try to do something for them. So thank you guys.
And to be clear, that number that Rachel, the 513,000, has been approved by the attorneys involved, and the majority of the landowners we've dealt with, actually all of the ones we've dealt with.
And just to clarify, that number also was verified with the Department of Revenue, that what our assessor's office did in the Department of Revenue came back with the exact same number, so the numbers were worked, on two different sides and they matched, so that's the number that we came up with. And so,
Correct.
just for clarification, that it isn't a number that we came up with on our own, that was a number that the Department of Revenue also worked with.
And to be very clear, so it's accurate, and Gene can explain why there was more money added to it. The Department of Revenue and the Assessor's Office both separately came up with 504,000. It's been changed to the approximately 513, and I'll let Gene explain why, so I don't mess that up.
The additional money, there's a classification, let's start from the beginning. AGA, which is unplatted ag land, and AGSL, which is ag school land. When it's abstracted in a total amount of acres, so that when the state does their audit, they look at dollars per acre, and there's an acre count for those two classifications. Ag C, which is platted ag land, is not abstracted with an actual amount of acres. It's platted with a parcel count. So whether you have 1 acre or 10 acres or 20 acres in that classification, it's counted as one. So when it's audited, that number is not available for the state to do their audit. We've gone back and looked at the Ag C classification, how many acres and dollars are in the soil survey there. portion that's calculated on soil survey in those townships is going to get the same type of reduction as unplatted ag land. So there's an additional $10,000 or $9,000 or whatever it is.
Thank you.
AD as well, right?
AD as well, yes.
Well, the thing to remember here is Brown County is the example for the whole state. As you're well aware, we are not the only county that was in that percentage rate. There was various other counties, and, you know, not that it's our business how they handle this, but we are going to be the example in what's going to happen. And
Can I ask a question?
sure, you sure can.
Okay, so what your decision is going to apply to all of the landowners in the 15 affected townships in southern Brown County, and that irregardless of whether or not they filed their taxes under protest?
Right.
Good. Okay.
Everybody's going to be treated fairly on that. If they paid early, they paid under protest. This dollar amount is for anybody in the 15 townships. 2017 tax will pay 2018 regardless whether you paid under protest, you paid them early. It's going to cover all parcels in that 15 townships.
Okay. Second question, you mentioned something about a mutual release agreement. What is that?
So what the plan will be is if the commission approves this number today, in the next few weeks, few months, we're going to be having to send out a mutual release agreement to all the parties. So if you're one of the parties, you'll get in the mail. Hopefully we can keep it down to a page. It might end up being a page and a half. It'll be a legal document saying that essentially you are agreeing to release the county from any legal liability for any of the tax years previously. Got to do it. There's no, I mean, the attorneys on the landowner side agree. Both sides have to do it, or you can't get paid. So if the landowner signs it, it comes back to our office, or the county, and then the county will have to sign it. And then once that's signed, a check will either get sent out to the landowner, or in some situations, the second half of the taxes could be rebated.
So basically the mutual release agreement is us agreeing to not want back the taxes for the previous years?
If you want to get paid for the 17, yes, that's correct. And I know what the other attorneys have advised their clients, but my personal opinion has been the same since the beginning. You missed the pay under protest on those, and you missed that deadline, so everything's gone in the back years. And there's nothing we can do about it because it's been distributed.
Okay. And the next step would be circuit court, is that right?
You'd have to get legal advice.
Okay.
So I think this is going to be a good compromise for those folks involved, and I guess I support it. If there's no other discussion, I'd call question.
Would you have Doug read that letter first, or? I'll read this letter, and then we'll take our vote after that letter. This letter is going to be addressed to Mr. Andy Gerlach, Secretary of South Dakota Department of Revenue. States, Dear Mr. Gerlach, in December 2017, Brown County Director of Equalization Mike Houck submitted the 2018 Brown County Assessment Plan to the Department of Revenue for the review and approval. The plan submitted was basically the same plan used by the county since productivity model was put in place in 2010. On January 5, 2018, Mr. Houck was relieved of his duties as director. Mr. Houck served in his position for 11 months. After his termination, Mr. Houck met with a reporter from Aberdeen American News and informed the reporter that, in his opinion, Brown County overtaxed agricultural land owned by millions of dollars. This always became front-page news. Upon learning of the accusation, the county asked the Department of Revenue to review the 2018 plan and to offer an opinion as to the plan's accuracy. The department responded with a detailed letter on February 7, 2018. In this letter, the department opined that the county was improperly making neighborhood adjustments to the agricultural land. The opinion set forth by the department surprised the county due to the fact that the department completed a compliance audit of the county's assessment plan each year, and after each compliance audit, the county received a copy of the audit report which noted that the county followed the statutory required approaches to value when assessing property. Further, in 2011, the county made the department aware of the use of neighborhood adjustments by providing a map to the department. In 2016 sales ratios and compliance audit report, the department noted that Brown County is making adjustments to large areas of AG land within the county based on easements and sales. These are just a few reasons why it is so difficult for everyone that has followed this unfortunate situation to understand why the department did not correct the alleged errors in the county's assessment practice years ago. The Brown County Equalization Board recently took action to address both the neighborhood issue and the overassessment issue for the years to come. To fix the problems of the past, the county plans to refund the county share of the property tax which were allegedly overassessed in 2017. While the details of this refund are not yet completely worked out, the county believes the majority of the negative impact landowners will approve of the refund. The total refund will be $513,411.35. The county did not receive a financial windfall due to the alleged overpayments, and the county does not feel it is legally obligated to refund this money. Nevertheless, the county wishes to do the right thing by providing this refund to the negatively impacted landowners. For the reasons stated above, the county believes the department shares responsibility for the alleged overpayments. Now the county requests the state of South Dakota also do the right thing by sharing in this financial burden with the county. We appreciate the efforts of the department has shown to date in resolving this issue, and we look forward to hearing from you regarding our request for the state to share in the responsibility of paying the refund amount. Please respond to this request as soon as possible so the state can be made part of the terms of this mutual agreement and that is currently being worked on by the county and negatively impact the landowners. Respectively, Doug Feldheim, Chairman. That letter will be sent to the Department of Revenue asking for them to be involved in this. Any questions? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
It'll be roll call vote.
Oh, roll call.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call vote. Hanson? Abstain. Sutton?
Aye.
Fishback?
Abstain, but I won't be taking my refund.
And I won't either. Kipley?
Aye.
Feldheim?
Aye. Is there anything else regarding? I think that's kind of clears that up for now.
Thanks again, you guys, for all that work.
And the work you're left to do.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, the work just begins for the auditor and the assessor's office and the treasurer's office to work out the details. It's been an extremely difficult time for them with all the extra time and efforts that's put into this to work the numbers. Now it'll only get more complicated as they figure out how the dollars will be sent back to the landowners or the parcel owners, because there's times that there's many people own on different parcels. There's six different children on a parcel, so that all has to be worked out, so that will take some time also. But okay, with that, I think we'll move on to, we have no other items on our agenda. Max, you want to look through your items?
For all your guidance, we appreciate it. The minutes from the April 23rd joint city-county and the April 24th general meeting.
So,
Second.
moved by Sutton, second by Hanson to approve the Brown County general meetings and County Board of Equalization.
No,
April 20
joint.
Joint, okay.
Okay, now, wait.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now, a motion for the April 24th Brown County Board of Equalization minutes.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Fishback, second by Kipley to approve the Brown County Board of Equalization minutes for April 24th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, that'll be a roll call with Nancy abstaining.
Okay.
Okay, claims and payroll.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Hanson, approve claims and payroll. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
HR report.
There was one issue, are we going to address the issue in the HR report?
Pardon me?
Do one issue in the, do you have a packet?
Regarding
The lien.
the lien.
Going to have to do that.
I don't know if we want to just discuss that in open.
Yeah, probably. I would motion quick exec for personnel.
Moved by Kipley, second by Sutton to go into exec for personnel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in exec. I'm not trying to, but...
I would make a motion that we...
We are out of exec, and the action of the exec is a motion by Kipley.
Approve the HR report as amended. We're taking out the new hire.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Kipley, second by Sutton to amend the HR report to wait another week for the new hire to make a decision. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, did you get a clean copy of the Fair Board bylaws?
Yes, it's in there.
No.
We are just
As presented.
approving it as is after
With
much
the changes,
discussion.
yes.
It's as it should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those in red will be the changes, and that's what we're approving.
Is that a motion?
I can make a motion to approve as
Second.
presented.
Motion by Sutton, second by Kipley to approve the Fair Board bylaws with the amended in red. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Amend the Midco Business Service order for the 25 Market Street. The monthly fee is going from $220 to $175. Well, that's kind of nice.
that?
I'm not sure.
I'll move it.
Second. Moved by Hanson, second by Fishback to Midco Business Service order from $220 a month going down to $175 a month. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
A lottery application.
Move
Second.
Moved by Fishback, second by Kipley to approve the lottery application by Aberdeen Hockey Association. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Abatements.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley to approve the abatements. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Lease agreement, American Music.
Move.
Second. Moved by Kipley, second by Fishback. Any discussion on that, being with American News?
Rummage sale.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Fair contracts.
Move.
Second. Moved by Sutton, second by Fishback, approve fair contracts, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that's all I have.
Gary, do you have anything for us?
Couple quick things. One of the appraisers is required to do a 16, 2-day training basically that's online as part of their certification, and there was a request made yesterday on whether or not they'd be able to do that from their home, since we're someplace where it'd be quiet and they'd have access to a computer. It's all online. Obviously, we'd get the certificate after the completion of the course, and it would just be marked as normal hours.
Cheaper than a
As if they were
hotel.
as if they were going
We
out
use
for
headphones.
training.
It's
So-
required for the position?
Required for the position as part of their certification.
We don't have anything in the courthouse that has access to
Max
computers?
says she has headphones for her.
There is a computer downstairs that could be used, but that was just the request that was made.
Is it a webinar, or is it just like testing?
They're actual
That's like the
classes.
testing
It's actual
online.
testing, and it's usually like a 7-hour course.
Yeah, there's like two days of,
Yeah.
it's like, this one's like 15.
Yeah. Oh, I see which one they're taking, yeah. I take them on Sundays.
So you start and stop it when you want? It's not a set time?
No, 15 hours that they have to complete.
You setting a precedent?
I think if we have
I
a
mentioned that
place
to
that
them
they could take
yesterday.
it that is quiet, then by all means in the courthouse. We've talked about having a training room and everything. Is that possible? Do we have something like that yet?
We could possibly set them up at the Millen Building.
Yeah.
Keep
Instead.
them on ground,
Okay. We will do that.
but accommodate to make it quiet.
Sounds good. I met with Insurance Plus yesterday, and we got our second quote from Wellmark that I sent to you yesterday. Any preference on which direction you want to go? As you recall, Medica came in at a 4.23% decrease across the board. Wellmark actually came in a little lower for single and two-party, but it would be an increase for the families again, which has been the issue that we've had with some of the potential new hires this past year where they've declined offers because of the cost of family insurance. So, and I know that we're also waiting on this to add it into the budget memo, but didn't know if you had any preference one way or the other.
According to what I see, we have 9 family members,
Correct.
and the county is paying what portion of the family?
50/50.
50/50. So the family under Blue Cross Blue Shield is about $200 a month more, so it means that the family side would be $100 additional a month.
For the
That's
base,
just quick
yeah,
math, I'm
yeah,
assuming.
for the base plan, yeah. About what you'd be.
But then the employee, which we have 159, looks like it would be about $50 a month cheaper. Yeah, $52, 51 something, $52. And the two-person, we only have 4 on that, would be roughly what, about $70? Do we have time, can we kind of look it over and
Oh,
maybe...
definitely. Well, I mean, depends on how fast you want to push out your budget memo too, but...
Well, I don't think we want to go much more than another week. Everybody want to just kind of review it and...
Work the numbers, I like to work the numbers with the number of singles we have, you know, and...
Because that's been
budget-wise,
the
how we're
issue,
doing.
you know, as always, is that, well, again, so yeah, we're going to penalize the people that are paying the most even more, you know, versus, and give a break to the rest, or where they would have gotten a decrease with the current plans, but...
So base plan renewal, that's what we pay. That's the current
Right.
employees was free.
Yeah.
And then the employee plus one, they pay the difference. So the 768 comes off of those next two numbers.
Right.
So it's not truly a 50/50, it's only the 768 comes
Just
off.
for the family, it's 50/50, the rest, yeah, there's...
So it's actually lower than last year, huh? Lower than this year? That's the first time that's...
Yeah, we've had some good
So on the
help this past year.
So on the family, are they paying 800 if they're family, or are they paying the difference 1,200 if they're family?
Well, they would pay half that.
Yeah.
We're paying half, so under the new rates, they'd be like
Okay.
$820.
Versus 1,000, whatever we are
Right.
at
Gotcha.
now.
And that, take that about
Yeah, it's not cheap. But yeah,
Can't thank you anymore, can we,
certainly
Dwayne?
take a
Nope.
week to
Yeah.
analyze it more, and then we'll move forward next week.
I think that's probably the best we're doing. Everybody
Sounds
can
good.
have their,
Numbers.
put their input next Tuesday, and
Sounds good.
That's all I had.
Max, you've got everything?
Yep.
Yeah,
Any of the
11
commissioners?
for department head
Okay.
meeting.
And the commissioners have anything else?
I talked to Dwayne just a little bit, there were some concerns on our, just Centennial Village getting geared up for the season. Would it be okay with you guys if we get Kurt Smith a little bit more involved with the folks at Centennial to make sure, some of these groups coming in, they haven't had some of their quarterly meetings, or we haven't been able to attend them, and I just want to make sure that Centennial Village is kind of geared up, and seems like everybody gets along and is used to working with Kurt Smith a little bit, so maybe if he could sit down with some of the groups and be kind of a liaison with them as well. Is that okay with everybody, or?
I guess that would depend on Kurt. I mean, Kurt's
Yeah.
basically in charge of the fairgrounds. I don't know that, I mean, if he's willing to do it, I see no problem, but I don't,
Time-wise
Well,
is
and
what I'm
our,
wondering.
and our contract is with the Centennial Group.
right, so I think we want to be careful what we want
Do
Kurt
they
to
have,
do.
do they
Yeah,
have
I don't
another
know what's
quarterly
going-
meeting set, or is it?
They haven't set one yet, but we're just into the second quarter, so.
So do we have any liaisons
Do you have
sitting
one
on
the
the
first
Centennial Committee?
That would be me, but I was out of town when they scheduled the last one.
Okay.
So, that's why I wasn't able to
Yeah.
attend. And I talked to him last night, told him I needed enough advance notice to know when it was.
Well, one of the concerns is we don't have contracts signed for things that are this summer, and they've been planning, for example, the Celtic Fair, things like that, there's a lot of promo ads going out with the dates, times, place, and there's no contract.
Maybe Dwayne,
Well,
you just need to...
Mark did say that he had reviewed the contract and they're ready to settle on it as soon as they're able to sit down and talk about it.
Okay. So do they they've got something set, there's a meeting set?
That's what he indicated, yes.
Okay.
He didn't say when.
Okay.
And that's his,
Right,
that's his right.
His job is...
Kind of murky waters when you have two different departments, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he wants one stepping on one toes, or one feels he's doing more than he has to. I guess you get into that type of thing, and that's why I'd be a little reluctant to...
Gotta be
Okay.
careful.
And it could just be confusion of who to go to if, since we're so new with the agreement with Centennial Village and all the volunteers ongoing.
I guess, I don't know, Dwayne, do you feel comfortable putting a time frame on Centennial Village to get that taken care of? Can you call them and tell the commission
bet I
that's a
will.
concern?
You bet it will.
I don't think it's a huge issue, but I think it's something that, I think Rachel brings a good point, and things are starting to happen, and there's no contract signed. I think that should be the first thing that should be done, so.
Well, and I think one of the problems is, in the past, they've held the Celtic Fair outside Centennial Village, and now they're wanting to bring it in and dictate what happens and where they'll be and what's going to take place, and Centennial Village is still in charge of Centennial Village. So,
Yeah.
an outside group that wants to have an event there really can't come in and tell them the way it's going to be. And that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
And they did have a change in leadership for the Celtic Fair. There are new people this year that they haven't dealt with in the past.
Sure.
So anytime you have change, you're going to have different people that think differently and have their own opinions.
Okay.
But I will call them.
Okay. Anything else to come from the Round County Commission?
Have you guys figured out how this paying back for the egg assessments will affect the budget next year?
Well, it's definitely going to affect the budget, but
Yeah.
that's why we've kind of prepared, departments cutting back for our courthouse security. It's funds that, it'll put the county maybe in a little bit of a financial spot, but we have enough departments that I believe the county will be able to come up with the funds to take care of that without creating a huge deficit. I think it'll hurt us a little bit, but I think we'll get through it.
Will your amount stay the same if the state is able to pay some, or will that help?
The state will be on that 513. That would just lower the county's portion.
Okay.
That's not going to be an additional, and that's probably an important thing you bring up, Shannon, because just because people think it's a kick and they're not going to get more money, 513 is the number, and if we can get the state to contribute to that, that just saves the county that much.
Thank you.
And the county is the taxpayers,
Right.
so out of their own pockets.
Anything else? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by
Take
Kempley,
your
second by Sutton. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Doug, you'll get that